This man has goals, plans, and good intentions, but somehow he still feels stuck. If that sounds familiar, you are not alone. He starts strong every week. Then life gets busy and the plan falls apart. The problem is not laziness, it is the system. Most people try to change with huge effort. They aim for giant goals in instant transformation. That is why the process feels heavy. Atomic Habits teaches the opposite idea. Big change starts with tiny actions. Small does not mean weak, it means repeatable. One little action seems harmless, but repeated actions become patterns, and patterns shape your life. That is why progress often looks slow at first. The result is small in the beginning, but the direction matters more than the speed. James Clear built this book around a simple promise. You can change your habits without changing everything at once. You just need the right framework. The first big lesson is simple. Stop obsessing over goals alone. Start building systems you can live with every day. Tiny steps feel almost too small, but tiny steps are easier to repeat. And repetition is where real change begins. Think of habits like watering a plant. You don't force growth in one day. You support it a little every day. Habits work like compound interest. A small gain today stacks on a small gain tomorrow. Over time, the difference becomes huge. At first, the graph barely moves. That can feel discouraging. But the hidden progress is still happening. Imagine heating an ice cube from 28 to 31 degrees. Nothing seems to change. It still looks frozen. Then one more degree changes everything. That's how habits work. The breakthrough is often hiding behind boring repetition. Reading one page is small. Doing it every night is powerful. The habit matters more than the size. Tying your shoes is not a full workout, but it's the beginning of one. Good habits grow from easy starts. A single check mark feels tiny, but it's proof that you showed up. That proof builds confidence. So the goal is not perfection. The goal is getting a little better consistently. 1% better is enough. Now let's talk about goals and systems. Goals tell you where you want to go. Systems decide whether you get there. A goal is the result. A system is the routine behind the result. The routine is what changes daily life. Winning once can feel exciting, but winning once does not build a lifestyle. Systems make success repeatable. If you want better health, better work, or better focus, you need better daily processes. That is where habits live. That is where outcomes are made. Cleaning your room once feels good, but the room gets messy again. One action is not the same as a working system. A checklist and a place for your tools create a routine. Routines remove decision fatigue. That makes action easier. Goals are helpful for direction, but systems are what carry you forward. You do not rise to goals, you fall to systems. Think of your life as a machine. Every habit is a small part inside it. Better parts create better output. When the system is good, progress becomes more natural. You stop depending on random motivation. You start trusting structure. That is why process beats pressure. You do not need to feel amazing every day. You just need a system you can keep using. Atomic Habits goes even deeper than process. It says the strongest habits are tied to identity. In other words, habits are about who you become. Most people say, I want to read more. That sounds fine, but identity-based change sounds stronger. Outcome thinking says, I want this result. It stays focused on the finish line, but it often feels far away. Identity thinking says, I am this kind of person. That is more powerful. It changes how you act today. Every action becomes a vote. Each time you do the habit, you vote for the person you want to become. That is how identity is built. One vote will not change everything, but repeated votes create evidence, and evidence changes belief. So ask a better question. Not what do I want to achieve, ask who do I want to become. A healthy person drinks water, a reader opens the book, a runner puts on the shoes. This also changes your self-talk. Instead of saying, I'm trying, you begin saying, that's not who I am. That shift matters. Habits are not just tasks, they are identity rehearsals. Every small action teaches you something about yourself. Next comes the habit loop. Every habit moves through 4 stages: cue, craving, response, and reward. The cue is the trigger. It tells your brain to notice something. A sound, a place, a time, or an object can all be cues. The craving is the desire behind the habit. You do not want the object itself, you want the feeling it gives you. The response is the action. It is the behavior you actually do. This is the habit in motion. The reward is the payoff. It feels good, useful, or relieving, and that reward teaches your brain to remember the loop. When this loop repeats enough times, behavior becomes automatic. That is why habits feel natural later. Repetition wires the cycle. James Clear turns this loop into 4 practical rules. Make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, make it satisfying. To break a bad habit, do the opposite. Make it invisible, make it unattractive, make it difficult, make it unsatisfying. That is the full framework. Build good habits with smart design, break bad habits by removing support. Now, let's make the system practical. We start with the first law: make it obvious. First, notice what you already do every day. Many habits run on autopilot. You cannot change what you do not see. Write your habits down. Mark which ones help, hurt, or do nothing. Awareness is the first step of control. Good habits need clear cues. If the cue is hidden, the habit is easy to forget. Obvious beats vague every time. Use a simple formula. I will do this habit at this time in this place. Clarity removes excuses. You can also use habit stacking. After an old habit, add a new one. This makes the new habit easier to remember. For example, after pouring coffee, meditate for 1 minute. The old habit becomes the trigger. The new habit gets a stable home. Your environment matters too. Put the book where you will see it. What is visible becomes easier to do. And to break a bad habit, hide the cue. If the remote is out of sight, mindless watching becomes less automatic. Removal is powerful. Make healthy choices easier to notice. Put fruit where you can grab it. Push the junk food farther away. Sometimes a new environment helps most. A fresh place has fewer old triggers. That makes new behavior easier to build. The second law is make it attractive. We repeat what feels appealing. The brain moves toward what it expects to enjoy. A great tool here is temptation bundling. Pair what you need to do with what you want to do. That adds emotional pull. Only listen to your favorite podcast while exercising. Suddenly, the workout feels more inviting. Fun pulls effort forward. People matter too. Habits become easier when your group already values them. We naturally copy the culture around us. If your circle reads, trains, studies, or builds, you are more likely to do the same. Social proof is powerful. We want to belong. You can also reframe the habit. Exercise is not punishment, it is building energy, strength, and confidence. Create a ritual that makes the habit feel good before it starts. Music, clean clothes, or a calm setup can shift your mood. Emotion changes follow-through. And for bad habits, make them unattractive. Remind yourself what they really cost, not just what they promise. The third law is make it easy. This is where many people overcomplicate change. They start too big and quit too early. Clear says to reduce friction. Choose the smallest version of the habit. Easy habits get repeated, and repeated habits grow. Want to start running?
Just put on your shoes. That tiny action is enough to begin. Want to read more? Read one page. The first step should feel almost too easy. Prepare your environment ahead of time. Lay out your clothes tonight. Make tomorrow's good choice simple. Meal prep is another great example. Healthy food is easier to choose when it is already ready. Convenience shapes behavior. To break bad habits, increase friction. Delete the app, log out, put the phone farther away. Do not rely only on willpower. Make the bad habit harder to reach. Distance can do what motivation cannot. You can even automate good behavior. Set savings to transfer automatically. That way, the habit happens without daily debate. Pre-commitment works too. Pay for the class in advance. Make future action easier than backing out. The easier the habit feels, the more likely you are to keep it. Simple wins are not weak, they are strategic. This is the heart of the 2-minute rule. Start with something so small you cannot say no, then let the habit grow later. The fourth law is make it satisfying. What gets rewarded gets repeated. Your brain loves quick feedback. That's why habit tracking works. A visible mark shows progress, and progress feels good.
You can reward consistency in simple ways. Save money when you skip a bad habit. Let the benefit become visible. You will miss a day sometimes. That is normal. The rule is simple. Never miss twice. Accountability also helps. Another person can make your habit feel more real. It adds support and healthy pressure. A habit contract makes the cost of failure clearer. You're more likely to follow through when the consequence is immediate. Pain teaches fast. So to break a bad habit, use the inversion of all 4 laws. Hide the cue, make it unattractive, make it hard, make it unrewarding. When you do that, life gets lighter. Good habits need less force. Bad habits get less oxygen. The best part is that you do not need a perfect reset. You only need one tiny starting point. Small is enough. Maybe your next habit is 1 page, 1 walk, or 1 glass of water. Pick something you can do today. Make it real. Write down 1 habit and give it a time and place. Keep it tiny. Let today become your first vote. Atomic Habits is not about changing your whole life overnight. It's about changing your direction with small, repeated actions. Start small, stay consistent, and let time do the heavy lifting. Real change does not start with a huge breakthrough. It starts with 1 small action you repeat today. So don't ask, how can I change my whole life overnight? Ask, what tiny habit can I start right now? If this video helped you, like, subscribe, and comment with the 1 habit you're building next.